Well deserved. July was miserably hot. Let's just be honest, the way it was.
was.
June started off cool, but August even cooler.
Yep.
So of course we're thankfully trading with that right now too. Not too bad towards the Neuse River this afternoon, and Newburgh looking pretty nice out there. A lot of water, a lot of waves are behaving, except for the coastal areas. Obviously still dealing with that high to moderate rip current risk. Most likely going to be staying moderate at least through the weekend. We do have a coastal low that's going to bring some showers that could fall heavily at times. Speaking of the coast, there's Morehead City outside the Sanitary Restaurant camera there, not looking too bad either. Also seeing some quiet conditions around the east and a much quiet radar site. Obviously we've been pretty active with that too. We did see some light showers and some sprinkles yesterday along I-95, but the majority of us did end up staying dry, which is some good news there. But the only moisture is close to home is in central south and southern South Carolina, that is too. But other than that, we're not going to be seeing any major impacts from that. Maybe a few light showers for Pender and Duplin and Onslow counties overnight tonight, but that's really going to be about it for that too. Even that Gulf moisture not even having impact on us right now. Winds are coming out of the north and northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Still seeing some gusts up to 20, 25 at times, especially outside of Hatteras. Mania coming in at 18 with some 12 to 15 miles an hour further inland. Good is that winds will diminish, but the nice air is here to stay. But unfortunately, rain's coming up on our Sunday. We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Alrighty, and it looks like Sunday is going to be the next best chance of rain, like you just mentioned, but after that we look a little dry.
We do. We're going to stay dry probably for the longest stretches we've had in quite some time, so we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
We need it. Thank you, Dustin. Well, we continue on with more Hurricane Aaron's impacts. At least one fishing pier on our coast has seen some damage from Hurricane Aaron. Oceana Family Motel shared on social media that the Oceana Pier in Atlantic Beach has some damage following the storm. However, they don't believe there's any major damage, but the fishing pier is closed at this time. The Post says the pier will be inspected by engineers to confirm it's safe before reopening. If any additional repairs are needed, the Post says they'll do those too before people are allowed on the pier again. And the Hyde County Board of Commissioners has terminated the evacuation order for Ocracoke Island visitors effective at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The evacuation order for essential personnel, residents, and property owners was lifted at 12 p.m. today. Officials advise that Highway 12 from Oregon Inlet to the Hatteras Ferry and Highway 12 on the north end of Ocracoke Island is still closed, and there's no access to the north from Ocracoke Village. And Governor Josh Stein just visited the Outer Banks this afternoon to check on hurricane damage left by Aaron. The governor was in Dare County to look at damage and stopped by the county's Emergency Operations Center to thank first responders. Stein and other state officials gave an update on post-Aaron conditions and damage left by the storm after their assessment. Ahead of Aaron passing by North Carolina, Dare, Hyde, and Currituck counties each issued a mandatory evacuation order for visitors and residents in certain areas. And several sections of Highway 12 were hit by ocean overwash as Aaron made itself known on the coast. Highway 12 is still closed at the Mark Basnight Bridge in northern Ocracoke after the NCDOT says this morning's high tide created 2 new dune breaches along it. According to the NCDOT, first breach is 200 feet at the canal zone south of the Oregon Inlet, and the second breach is 30 feet in the dune at the Pea Island Visitor Center. The section of Highway 12 near Buxton has also seen a good amount of overwash thanks to Aaron. It's not currently known when the highway will reopen, but crews have been working to clear it and rebuild the dune. Now over to a crime first alert. A Jacksonville woman is accused of setting a house on fire while deputies say her boyfriend was inside. Onslow County deputies say 25-year-old Ariel Payton has been charged with malicious use of explosive or incendiary, 2 counts of simple assault and second-degree trespassing. She's being held under a $43,750 secured bond. And deputies say they were called to a home on Country Wood Drive for a fire around 8 p.m. Tuesday. Deputies say they met with the homeowner, Deshaun Middleton, who said he was asleep when the fire started. Middleton told deputies he and his girlfriend Peyton were the only people in the home and both were asleep at the time. Deputies say Peyton wasn't home when they got there, but she was later arrested on unrelated warrants. Meanwhile, a Rocky Mount man has been charged with an accident that killed another man earlier this month. Cody Bundy was charged with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle, failure to yield, window tint violation, and driving while license revoked. The August 8th crash at Cooley Road and South Church Street killed 54-year-old Jesse Williams. The victim was driving a moped when he was hit by Bundy's vehicle around 8:20 p.m. that night, according to police. Bundy was given a $5,000 secured bond. And now for an advisory against swimming was posted for ocean-side areas impacted by Hurricane Erin. The advisory is for areas in and between the villages of Rodanthe and Buxton along Highway 12 on Cape Hatteras National Seashore. The North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality says Hurricane Erin caused extensive erosion and storm surge in this area, exposing wastewater to the ocean surf. Officials say that swimming in these areas can increase the risk that contamination causing adverse health effects. The public is advised to avoid bodily contact with these waters. The state is working with the National Park Service and Dare County officials to determine when the risk of exposure is no longer a concern. State officials will continue testing the areas and will update the public when bacteria levels fall below the standards. Next, the organization is hosting an event to honor fallen heroes while supporting a great cause. I'll have more on how you can get involved coming up in a live interview.
Start now.
Coming up on WITN First Up, many here are inspecting the damage left by the offshore's hurricane. Ahead, what areas in the east are still feeling the impacts and what the governor said while touring Dare County damage. Setting her boyfriend's home on fire. Just ahead, we'll share the charges she's now facing. Well, good afternoon and thanks for joining us here on First at 4. I'm Bailey Bockover. One Crystal Coast fishing pier is closed after getting some damage from Hurricane Erin. Waves some 15 to 20 feet high crashed into the Oceana Pier as the storm passed by the coast this week. Oceana Family Motel shared on social media that the pier has some damage following the storm. However, they don't believe there's any major damage, but the fishing pier is closed at this time. The Post says the pier will be inspected by engineers to confirm it's safe before reopening. One Carteret County resident says Erin's waves were the biggest she's ever seen in the Atlantic beach and believes closing the pier was the right move.
I'm obviously sad for them because that stinks. They've had to repair this pier a couple times, so I hate it for them, but I think they did the right thing by closing it so that no one got hurt.
Oceana says their restaurant will remain open and hope to reopen the pier in a few days. Carteret County officials say a shore protection manager inspected the beaches along the Crystal Coast where erosion was minimal. And Dare County has also seen some of the stronger impacts from Erin as it passed by our coast. That's why Governor Dustin was there as officials began assessing the damage left by the hurricane. Stein joined other state officials as they surveyed the damage throughout Dare County. Earlier this week, the county issued a mandatory evacuation order for visitors and residents on Hatteras Island. Governor Stein said that while parts of the Outer Banks and coast saw some overwash and flooding, North Carolina was lucky things weren't worse with the first hurricane of the season.
Now, we didn't have the absolute best because as we were down in Hatteras, we saw some businesses that took it on the chin. Some homeowners experienced real damage to their property, but my goodness, North Carolina dodged a bullet with Hurricane Erin.
Most coastal towns are returning to normal operations, even with some flooded streets. As of noon, Hyde County has lifted its evacuation orders for Ocracoke for essential personnel, residents, and property owners. Now, people in those three groups are allowed to access the island in order of priority, depending on ferry availability. The visitor evacuation order will be lifted effective tomorrow at 9 a.m. Currituck County has also lifted its evacuation order for the off-road area of Corolla as of noon today. And now let's take a look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Zach Holder. Zach, it's Friday. We have the weekend to look forward to. Give us some good news.
Yeah, the weather looks great except for some rain on Sunday. That's about all we're concerned about through the weekend. We'll still watch the coast for those higher rip current risks that will probably still linger for another day. In fact, more red flags expected tomorrow across the Outer Banks. But for football, especially the first week of football where it's usually hot and humid, we'll be in the 70s or close to it by game time. A few clouds increasing through the evening as well. And look at our humidity trend. Does not look like August at all. The last week of the month should feel very, very nice. A little more humid on Sunday as that rain chance rolls in, lingering into Monday. Then a strong cold front brings in fake fall for several days. Yellow flag still expected, but could be changed by the time we get into tomorrow as the real-time conditions are monitored. Red flags continue from Cape Lookout to Ocracoke and Hatteras and turning the corner north all the way to Duck. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to head to the water this weekend, there could be still a little bit of danger in some spots. Look at our temperatures tomorrow morning, though, all the way down to the low 60s in some spots, with temperatures conditions staying very nice heading into Watermelon Festival this evening.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you, Zach. Well, this year is a big one for a popular festival in Pitt County. The Winterville Watermelon Festival is turning 40. The multi-day event features activities the whole family can enjoy. That's where we find Elise Sandlin, who's getting an early head start on the fun ahead of tonight's opening ceremony. How's the atmosphere in Winterville so far, Elise?
Hey Bailey, yeah, absolutely an early start. Things have been pretty quiet here as the main festivities won't kick off till 6, but there's still some people walking around, checking out what's to come. And of course, vendors are setting up for all the fun to begin in a couple hours. You can see behind me several rides. They haven't started yet, but they will definitely be kicking off at 6 p.m. So just less than 2 hours now. You'll probably see me on one of those rides later tonight. I love a good amusement ride. So the opening ceremony by the Winterville Chamber of Commerce and Winterville Town Council starts at 6 tonight. Make sure you don't miss that. It should be a really fun opening ceremony. And of course, amusement rides and vendors begin at 6 as well. Lots of good food. I see nachos and cheese, lemonade, cotton candy, anything for the whole family, anyone that, whatever you like, they've got it here for sure. And the weather outside is feeling wonderful. I'm hoping it stays just like this, Bailey, because it's feeling really great right now. Should be a fun evening. There's some performances tonight as well. The Joe Brown Band starts at 6:30 p.m. and the main event band will perform at 8:30. And don't go anywhere because this festival will continue to go on till Sunday. And of course, tomorrow it will run from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you got the full day. WITN will be out with our booth and we want you to come say hi to us. And of course, enjoy all the vendors and amusement rides. I've been told the main event tomorrow is Tracy Bird performing at 9:30. So make sure to check him out. I'll be looking forward to enjoying my time out here tonight as well. Make sure to come and see us and we'll have a couple more interviews lined up later tonight. Back to you, Bailey.
Sounds like it's going to be a great time. Thank you, Elise. And we'll check back in with Elise coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock. WITN is a proud sponsor of the Winterville Watermelon Festival. And a GoFundMe has been set up for a woman killed in a Lenoir County hit and run earlier this month, even as Highway Patrol has yet to identify her. A GoFundMe page has been set up by her sister. Says Valerie Potter died in an August 5th hit and run, and the family was notified last night that she was the victim. The woman apparently was walking along Paul's Path Road in Lenoir County when she was hit by a pickup truck. 2 people discovered her body 4 days later. Stephen Hawkins was charged with felony hit and run with a serious injury death after a trooper spotted his pickup truck with damage consistent with the deadly crash. Hawkins was pulled over and admitted he hit and killed the woman, according to troopers. And a Jacksonville woman is accused of setting a house on fire while deputies say her boyfriend was inside. Onslow County deputies say 25-year-old Ariel Payton has been charged with malicious use of explosive or incendiary, 2 counts of simple assault and second-degree trespassing. She's being held under a $43,750 secured bond. Deputies say they were called to a home on Countrywood Drive for a fire around 8 p.m. Tuesday. Deputies say they met with the homeowner, Deshaun Middleton, who said he was asleep when the fire started. Middleton told deputies he and his girlfriend Peyton were the only people in the home and both were asleep at the time. Deputies say Peyton wasn't at the home when they got there, but she was later arrested on unrelated warrants. And a Rocky Mount man has been charged with an accident that killed another man earlier this month. Cody Bundy was charged with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle, failure to yield, window tint violation, and driving while license revoked. The August 8th crash at Cooley Road and South Church Street killed 54-year-old Jesse Williams. The victim was driving a moped when he was hit by Bundy's vehicle around 8:20 p.m. that night, according to police. Bundy was given a $5,000 secured bond. And one Eastern Carolina school district is adding 4 new buses into its fleet in hopes of cutting down on costs. Haley Hollinger was out in Greene County talking to the district's transportation director and a mechanic to find out more. And Haley, what did you find out?
Bailey, behind me is the propane tank used to fuel these new propane buses. And while you may not be able to differentiate a diesel bus from a propane bus, there are some hidden beneficial items. The district has previously run an all-diesel fleet of school buses. The school system transportation director, Stan Johnson, said they paid $2.92 a gallon when they last fueled up the diesel buses. Comparatively, Johnson says fueling costs for the new propane buses are $1.30 a gallon. Those could go as low as $1 depending on a federal rebate. The cost difference is because propane is cheaper to produce than diesel, according to Johnson. Another big reason the district switched was mechanic feedback about how often and how much it cost to replace parts on the old bus fleet. Johnson credits the mechanics' communication with helping lead to the change.
So I do communicate with the mechanics, and I'm more concerned about what they have to work on every day. If they communicate with me and let me know this is going to be easier for them when it comes to maintenance, then I'll definitely go with what they want.
I got the chance to speak with Michael Harrison, one of the district's bus mechanics, who said the difference in cost between a diesel-powered and propane-powered engine can be thousands of dollars. Harrison also said that diesel and propane are neck and neck when it comes to safety. In Greene County, Haley Hollinger, WITN News.
Ready? Thank you, Haley. Johnson said that the money saved using propane buses means less local funding. Well, when WITN First at 4 returns, tensions continue to rise in Washington, D.C. as the National Guard receives new orders to carry their service weapons. The latest developments from our nation's capital are just ahead. But first, let's check in with our weather. Zach?
Yeah, still watching for some nicer conditions this weekend. By Sunday, though, could start to run into some rain again. Heading into next week, looks even better than how tomorrow is going to feel. We'll update you on the forecast and those rain chances on Sunday.